Hi, welcome to Trinity Update. I'm Suzanne Dowdy. And I know a lot of what I'm going to say today is going to date this program, but we just can't help it. If we're showing it again at another time, well, can't help that. But many of you viewing this morning or tonight or whenever you see the program would have been at the Divine Mercy Conference held in the March of this year, 2014. And if you weren't actually at the conference, you were lucky enough to see it here on our channel. So you may recognize two of the faces I have here with me. Dave and Joan Maroney, is that, did
Maroney.
I say Maroney? Okay, I have to pronounce it correctly. And they're going to share with us all about their ministry as Divine Mercy Messengers. So we want to welcome you to Trinidad once again.
Thank you for having
And
us.
those of you who were there and maybe at the end of the conference would have seen Dave and Joan dancing to the Trinity music.
Yes.
So I think even before we get maybe to that, the Divine Mercy message, there's something special about Dave we should know because you are into music, aren't you?
Yes.
That's why you
sure
like our
am.
music.
Yes.
All right,
yes,
so tell us a
yes.
little bit about you
Oh,
and your
my
music.
goodness. Well, I have a band back home, the four of us, and we've been together for over 30 years, the same four guys, same four songs.
No.
But we do, we have, it's a beach type environment actually in Corpus Christi, Texas, is on the Gulf Coast. So there's surfers and palm trees and sand dunes, you know, so there's kind of a beach environment. So we do beach-oriented music like Jimmy Buffett, Van Morrison, you know, and it's a family type of music, you know, bring the kids, and it's rock and roll, but it's you know, it's not hard rock, or but it's been a wonderful experience all these years.
You have music in your blood.
Yes.
30 years that the four of you been together.
Yeah.
You know, usually they, you know, bands like that, they quarrel, they come apart, and isn't that beautiful?
It's always been a hobby for us.
Yeah.
So I think that's one reason it's been able to stay fun all these years, you know.
So you would have been single when the band started, I would think.
Yes, yes.
And then you met, well, maybe you should tell us how you met Joan.
Oh, my
Does
goodness.
she love music too?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Oh, it was a warm summer evening on Corpus Christi Bay. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
A soft, gentle breeze wafting off the water, a full moon over the bay, and
Joan floated in on
yeah,
a cloud.
Yes, she did. You were there. And there was our band was playing, but we had finished, and another band was playing, and I saw this one, you know, across the way, and I went over and talked to her a little bit, and she wouldn't dance with me because, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
She had been dancing all night long and was tired.
Oh.
So I persisted,
Yeah.
and it took me several minutes to fall completely in love
Several
with her.
minutes.
Yes.
And how long have you been married?
We've been coming up on 22 years.
Wow. Okay, congratulations.
We were later on, we were both 31 when we met. And so it was a little, you know, it was in our teenage years.
So this was true love.
Yes. Oh, definitely. And God has just blessed us. And, you know, from the very beginning, I was raised Baptist in Corpus Christi, Texas, Southern Baptist, which is a Protestant religion, you know, like a Methodist or Episcopalian, that type.
Right.
Okay. And, but I just, I met Joan, and she introduced me to the rosary, and it sounded great to me, so we started praying it from the get-go, from right at the beginning of our relationship. And I really believe that the rosary really brought me into the fullness of the faith. I came into the Catholic faith in 1994, and we consecrated ourselves to the Immaculate Heart and the Sacred Heart at the beginning of our relationship.
Isn't that beautiful? Oh, gosh.
And we've just been blessed, you know, and it's just having that open heart to the fullness of the faith that's really been, that God's blessed us all these years. And, you know, then we, you know, started this ministry and traveling, and so it's been, consecrate yourself to Our Lady and then hang on to your hat, you know, is what I'm saying.
And you get busy.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were Catholic all your life? Oh, Okay, so this was one of your conversion stories, eh?
Yeah, and when I met him, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. I had been married and had 3 children, 3 small children, but it was not a healthy relationship or anything like that. So I had, the Lord was leading me through it, and I said, if I ever have an opportunity to remarry, I want to make sure that I have a man in my life who is, where Christ is the center of our family.
Good for you.
And because I had tried it the other way, and it didn't work. And so when I met Dave and he told me he was Baptist, I thought, well, I wanted a good Catholic guy. But he was so open. And I remember, like, the first week when we met, he said, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, well, it's Sunday, I'm going to Mass. And he said, do you mind if I go with you? And I was like, oh my gosh.
You really hooked him.
The Lord, Our Lady. It was I believe,
Lady.
you know, going through that tough time and just time in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and it was God's mercy. And then, so he started going to Mass and praying the Rosary with the children, and then I realized that even though he wasn't, quote, quote, Catholic, he was more Catholic than my former husband, who was Catholic. He was a good man. He was a prayerful man. And he was supportive of the faith, and he loved that Christ was the center of my life. And so after a 2-year period of dating, and I had to go through the annulment process and all that kind of thing, then we were married and made the consecration like he said. The next year, I believe, is when he came into the faith, the fullness of the faith. And I never asked him to be Catholic, because I didn't want him to become Catholic just to make me happy. You know, I thought if it's what he wants to do, then he'll decide. And he told me one day, he said, I think I want to go through the process to become Catholic. And I said, if that's what you want to do. And I'll never forget that ceremony when I saw him receive Holy Communion for the first time. And my son was an altar server at the Mass, and we were all part of it. And I thought, oh, Lord, what a blessing now to have the sacraments in our marriage, which the previous experiment I did, that wasn't. And I knew that if we could remain in a sacramental covenant, the marriage, the Holy Eucharist, the grace we get from the sacrament of reconciliation, and then, of course, our love and our consecration to the Blessed Mother. And it's been such a blessing for us and our family, and now to be able to do what we do in our apostolate.
What a beautiful testimony. I mean, individually and as a couple, that's beautiful. I'm sure you're touching many people out there with that testimony.
I hope so.
So how did you get into this apostolate now?
Well, we had met someone who was doing something similar in our little town where we live outside San Antonio, Texas. And they said that they were going around giving talks about the Divine Mercy and the Shroud of Turin and Our Lady of Guadalupe. And I was very intrigued by that, because at that Mass, I had Divine Mercy was on my mind. And our parish didn't have an image of the Divine Mercy, and our pastor didn't know that much about it. But for some reason, it was put on my heart that after Mass to approach Father and say, Father, could we get a Divine Mercy image in the church? And before I could even do that, this lady came over to me, and she had 2 visitors with her, and she said they go around giving talks about Divine Mercy. So I had goosebumps.
Yes.
So, my gosh, okay, well, what do you do? And when they told me, we felt called to get involved, and they said, well, we're trying to begin Divine Mercy prayer groups, and maybe you and your husband, you would go to parishes or locally, sit in people's living rooms and explain to them and get them on the program. So we said, sure, I think that's something we can do. So over a period of months, we were waiting for the materials and what exactly to do. But one day they called up and they said, actually, we need another team to go across the United States. And the Lord's putting on our hearts that it's you and your husband.
Okay.
That was...
That's a biggie.
That's a big difference.
But it was yes in our hearts. I mean, from the very beginning, there was no question. Yes, we would like to do this. But of course, there were things that had to fall into place with our home and our family, and things like that. And there were some priests, one priest in particular, that knew us and knew the kids, and it was paramount importance. It was through the priestly discernment and guidance of our discernment period of whether we would be able to do this ministry. So that was very, very important, because people can get inspired to do things, but it's under the mantle of the church, through the priest, that God blesses things. And so that was real important for us to have that priestly direction. But it turned out to be 9 months that we thought about it and discerned. I was teaching high school math at the time, so it came time to sign the contract for the next year, and I told my principal that I wouldn't be coming back, and off we went.
Actually, it's almost our anniversary. I think it was April 15th of that year, so it'll be almost 15 years now.
That you're doing this.
Yes.
I'm listening to the two of you talking and sharing, I'm thinking, well, we know that there are no perfect human beings on earth, but you kind of want to use the two of you like an example. Okay, this is how, yes, I know you're rolling your eyes, but really and truly, this is how you should live. This is what a marriage should be. I'm sure that it's not perfect, but, you're doing what Christ asks of us, what God asks of us. Waiting for His inspiration, saying yes, and then asking for the guidance of the priest and the church. And that's how we should all live our lives.
Exactly.
What a beautiful example the two of you are.
That's been a thing that, aside from what we do going into parishes and schools, I know we'll talk about that in a minute, but I will say this weekend, I had 3 women come up to me, and this happens quite frequently where we go, and that they are, and men too, that have been inspired by our relationship. You said that it's not perfect, and it's not, but it's pretty close to perfect.
Pretty darn close.
It really is, and
view.
it's only God's grace, we know. In fact, we had a priest traveling with us one time for like 10 days, and he said, to be together 24/7 like you are, in the hard work that we do together, he said, it's got to be God's grace. And
traveling, things
that.
don't go as as you planned.
Yeah.
So you have to just really be flexible and I think from my upbringing, my beautiful, loving family, my mother and father, Baptist upbringing, and we didn't have any anti-Catholic rhetoric in the home. Sometimes that can be, in the States at least, can be part of the upbringing for a Protestant family. But it wasn't in my house at all. And just the love that my mother and father had together and in the family, I think prepared me for the open heart to come to the fullness of the faith.
And then how was this apostolate given a name and continued from there then? Because you were like the founder and foundress.
Well, Mother of Mercy Mesengers was, again, to give credit to Our Lady and our consecration to her. And we knew that we were part of her army, and wanted to, and under her guidance, and so that's where the Mother of Mercy and spreading the mercy message. So we're known as Mom, M-O-M-M, and then,
I never thought I'd be called Mom.
but she really
Mother
guides
of
us.
Mercy
Messengers, taking the message of mercy, and I guess that's the part of our ministry which is quite unique. Because our role is to take the message. We work under the auspices, I should say this first, of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception that have the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And the Marian Fathers have been spreading the message of mercy since shortly after St. Faustina died. It was handed off by her spiritual director to a Marian Father in Poland as the war was breaking out. St. Faustina died in 1938, and then the war broke out. Priests were being persecuted. One of the Marian Fathers decided to try to escape. St. Faustina's spiritual director knew that this message was endangered, and so he gave it to him in Latin. And Father made his way. It took him a year to go across Siberia to Japan, made it to the United States, to where the Marian Fathers then began to speak.
Without valid papers during war.
My God.
So it's a miraculous, really,
yes.
yes.
The whole journey.
Right. So they've been spreading the message since the 1940s. So we're under their auspices, and what we do then is then take the message that we say emanates from the National Shrine or from Poland into the local parishes and schools, and to help people learn about the message, but also then to be able to practically apply it, in their lives to make a difference for themselves, their family, and then also to help them spread it. Because we meet so many people that have been touched in one way or another by God's mercy. And when you are, all you want to do is share it with others. And so we help to provide them with ideas, tools, and resources to be able to share the message as well.
God is really using you. Now, I know we have a clip, just a short little clip, so we're going to let our viewers see this, and then we'll come back. We still have some time, and you're going to hear some more of this interesting story, so don't go away.
Sister Faustina began to write her diary in the summer of 1934. She wrote and suffered in secret, with only her spiritual director and some of her superiors aware that anything special was taking place in her life. It is an account of her discovery of God's love, the title, Divine Mercy in My Soul. Write, Jesus told her, so that souls will learn to love me. Write of my mercy. On 14 different occasions, according to the diary, Jesus asked for the celebration of a feast of mercy. She first became aware that Jesus wanted this feast when she received a vision of Jesus as the Divine Mercy image on February the 22nd, 1931. Jesus gave her the chaplet of Divine Mercy. He said to her, "Unceasingly recite this chaplet that I have taught you." He also asked that she make a novena of the chaplets, beginning on Good Friday, 9 days before the Feast of Mercy. Jesus said, "By this novena I will grant every possible grace to souls. My daughter, speak to the world of my inexhaustible mercy. I desire that this feast be a refuge and a shelter for all souls, especially for poor sinners. The very depths of my mercy will be opened on that day. I will pour out a sea of graces upon those souls that will approach the fount of my mercy. Let no soul fear to come to me, even if its sins be as scarlet. This feast emerged from the bosom of my mercy. I desire that it be celebrated with great solemnity on the first Sunday after Easter. The souls that will go to confession in preparation and communion on the day will obtain a complete remission of all sin and all punishment." From this and other passages in the diary, it appears that the Lord wants us to make novenas of the chaplet for whatever our needs, and it can be made at any time. Jesus said, "By saying the chaplet, you are bringing humankind closer to me. The souls that say this chaplet will be embraced by my mercy during their lifetime and especially at the hour of their death. And when this chaplet is said in the presence of the dying, I will stand between my Father and the dying person, not as the just judge, but as the merciful Savior."
As a Ministry of Living Water community, our aim is to ensure a powerful and effective...
We've heard all about God's inexhaustible mercy, and that's the message that you are spreading. And it's just so beautiful to think of that. I think in the Catholic Church, there's so much that's offered to us through the various novenas and prayers. It's like God is saying, look, I'm giving you a way to experience my mercy, my love, my grace. So beautiful. So what would you like to add to what we just saw there in that clip?
Very well done. It's the Feast of Mercy is such a great day, and it's part of the Easter season. The resurrection on Easter Sunday. But scriptures tell us, in the States, a lot of times people will celebrate Easter, go to Mass, but then by 1 o'clock that afternoon, the game is on, yes. And Easter is over for them. But it's that octave of Easter, and on Easter Sunday morning, scriptures tell us that some believed at once that Jesus was right. They got it. He's alive. I know it. But others were like, I'm not sure. And then Thomas, unless I put my fingers into his wounds, I won't believe. So during that week, Holy Mother Church draws us into that suspense. What's going on? The readings that week, or that the walk to Emmaus, where Jesus appears to the guys walking along, and then they see him in the breaking of the bread. So, and on Mercy Sunday, the liturgy is the apostles are still scared. They don't know what's going on. They gather together behind the locked door because they're frightened, and all of a sudden Jesus is there, and from their point of view, they ran away. There's Jesus being crucified, and I took off. I scattered. And I denied him. I don't know him, So they're feeling remorse. Oh my gosh, I denied my Lord. And all of a sudden, here he is. And what does he say? Does he say, you guys ran, No. What does he say? Peace to you. And the image of the Divine Mercy is the icon for the liturgy of Mercy Sunday. And it's Jesus saying to all of us, as we deny him every day, it's him saying, peace to you, I forgive you, I died for you, come to my heart, that's the liturgy of Mercy Sunday.
Do you think either of you could share with us any, maybe one or two testimonies of a miracle of divine mercy that you have heard about personally?
Oh boy, we've heard so many.
Yeah.
But I guess with the Feast of Mercy coming, as we heard on the beautiful clip, on this day when we receive Holy Communion, all of our sins and all of our punishment are completely wiped clean. But it's important to remember that there are many graces, that the Lord says the ocean of mercy is open on that day. This is the day. If you need something, you need to ask the Lord, because this is what he said. He said, tell souls to ask for much. I want them to ask, and it saddens his heart when we don't. So we can pray for needs in our families. We have financial problems, health problems. One woman in particular was praying for her son. He was an investment banker. He made good money, but he never had any money. She said, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. He lived in New Orleans. And she said, what he was doing was, in the morning before he would go to work, he had a gambling addiction.
Oh boy.
And, with gambling, that addiction, a lot of other addictions and problems. And so she vowed that she would prepare during Lent when she would celebrate Mercy Sunday on the Feast of Mercy. When she received Holy Communion, she asked the Lord for healing for her son, whatever this problem was that he had. So we heard the story from the young man. He says that day, he didn't know his mother was doing this. He was not going to church or anything like that. But on that Monday morning, he got up and was going to go gambling. But the night before, he lost $25,000.
Wow.
So the next morning, which that was Sunday night, then the next morning when he got up, he said, all of a sudden, he said, rather than going to the gambling boat, he just said, I can't do this anymore. So he was wandering the streets because he would go on the gambling ships that were docked there in New Orleans. And he said instead of going onto the gambling ship, there was a church that was open, and he went in and they were celebrating Mass. And he said, and from that time on, his gambling addiction, all his other addictions were gone, and now instead of going gambling every day, he was a daily communicant. He made a holy hour, and he changed his entire life and goes around and spreading the message. So it's important to know that we can affect not only our own lives, but the lives of so many other people. I encourage people, when Christmas time comes, we make a list of things that we want for people, or we want to get them, or our own needs too. To take this time now and to start preparing for the Feast of Mercy, of what it is our family members need, to quit smoking, to reconcile a relationship. And then when the Feast of Mercy comes, this is why we're preparing during Lent. We're making the sacrifices, we're fasting, we're praying to receive the superabundance of grace. We all receive grace on Mercy Sunday, those of us that ask for it, but all not to the same degree. It's how much preparation we put into it, how much sacrifice we're willing to make. But we can make such a tremendous impact on the lives of ourselves and others And that's the joy we have of sharing the message.
That's a message we all need to hear.
Right,
Sure.
exactly.
And then Dave was talking about the website.
Yes, we have a website that we're hoped to be going live very soon. And it really starts in the summer of 2012 in the United States. Our country was preparing for a presidential election and other types of elections. And it really, to me, was a time where the United States could pick to choose to walk with God or to reject God. And so we thought that it just hit us. Many other factors came into play that our United States needs to get on its knees and pray for God's mercy through the Divine Mercy Devotion. So we initiated a campaign, Divine Mercy for America. And we're on a mission to get 1 million Americans signed up to pray for our country.
Beautiful.
Jesus asked, Jesus and Our Lady and some saints appeared to Saint Faustina and directed her to pray for Poland at that time. So we figured, and they gave her specific prayers to do. One time it was a litany of the saints to pray, a novena of the litany of the saints to pray specifically for Poland. So we're taking the things Jesus gave Saint Faustina to pray for Poland and applying those prayers to the United States. The other night at the conference, we unveiled to a round of applause, Divine Mercy for Trinidad and Tobago. So this program can be replicated. But the website, divinemercyforamerica.org, is designed to help people spread the message. So there will be areas where they can download some of the narratives that talk about St. Faustina. And
so that's divinemercy.org.
Divinemercyforamerica.org.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm looking at our clock, so we're going to have to wind up. But, you know, I've been talking here with Joan and Dave Maroney, who are the founder and foundress of Mother Mercy Mesengers. And if you are looking at this program live and you would like to hear more of their story, and there is a lot more to hear, they're going to be tonight at the Our Lady of Fatima Church in Currap from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow, Thursday, they're going to be at the Church of St. Philip and James in Shogunas, also 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then Tobago, you're not being left out. On Friday, they'll be at St. Dominic's Church in Tobago from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And, you know, they have so much more to their story, so much more to share with you. And I just want to really thank you, Dave and Joan, for coming and sharing this with us in Trinidad, and for Mona Rahal and the Sanctuary of the Holy Family who invited you here.
Yes.
It's been our joy and great and thank you for having us.
Thank you to the Sanctuary, the Holy Family, for arranging all of this. And we just implore God's blessings upon every person here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, thank you for bringing the message of God's mercy to us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. And I hope that you're going to really make this Lent a special one in preparation for Divine Mercy Sunday. God bless.
Amen.